this is the next video, I guess. And if you didn't hear that, you're at the wrong vid. Anyways, barrel spider. Now, these guys seem very good. They were heavily armed. They were advanced. Now you may be asking, well, then they were walking in. And yes, I think they were partially walking in. But this source of energy they had, I think this has something to do with the Volt Striker and the surge crystals it drops. You can see pillars with those surge crystals in the background. So they were a heavy source of power, apparently. So this allowed them to build quicker, and along with steam power and gear power, they were able to produce things quicker. And the Reavers and Santa Claus certainly helped. So that's what the Barrel Spire does. That's what it was meant for. Wait, that's not what it does in one. Shoot, I got into rambling and yeah. Anyways, the Barrel Spire is meant for attack. And it was basically, I think it was somewhat of a magnum opus at the time. Seeing that with this power they could possibly stop the infection. But obviously it didn't work. The Barrel Spider and all the other enemies in the next workshop were infected. So, yeah. They really need to stop making these robots digital. Because I think the infection is probably like a digital, like some sort of computer virus. They really just need to make these things fully mechanical so they can't be infected. I think that's the reason why the copper walkers, those little box walking things in Connect Workshop, and the copper striders, those big walking copper platforms that look like work striders, aren't infected because they're purely mechanical. Yeah. So basically, that's how it works. And why they aren't infected, why they don't attack us. And they don't have cores either. So that's something to take note of. Why cores and those lights on enemies and even on our holes. So those are some source of power, I think. I don't know. Now let's read the descriptions for the Stride Lord on my computer. I hope this description is built to destroy any loose infected means the powerful Stride Lords, large-sized and slow movement, made them among the shop's first to succumb to the infection. They were like the first one in the workshop to succumb to the infection. What can we use with that? So, anyways, let's focus on the ability to destroy any loose infected machines. This implies that the other things, while they let some infected machines slip by, so Stride was built to deal with them, crush them. Unfortunately, it was the first to succumb to the infection. Now, I personally think that when creatures are infected, they have some sort of self-destruct mechanism, and when they bounce around the whole place, they damage their systems and try to make themselves, try to self-destruct. It sounds like I'm censoring a certain word, but I'm really not. So, yeah, they basically tried to self-destruct but it was no use. The infection was too fast. Now, Shrine Lord, its head just went down, and then it was infected, and then it started wreaking chaos. Now, because of the destroying themselves thing, self-destruct thing, that implies that all the enemies are weaker than they really would have been. So, for example, something like, being like, I don't know, the Flarelings didn't actually suck at their job. Maybe they weren't actually able to aim, but in the process of self-destruction, they lose their ability to aim. So basically, the Flarelings used to not suck at all. They used to not suck, like, majorly. Anyway, so the Stride Lord. Wow, we didn't even have a lot of lore for the enemies in Kinetic. Anyways, Kinetic Workshop. This might give us some more context. The description for Kinetic Workshop says, why is the footage here showing a freaking scrap tank defeating the Stride Lord? I'm not even going to. Anyways, in hopes of stopping the infection, the workshop was created to experiment with alternative power sources. Most of its energy comes from the massive heat source. Massive heat source? Okay, so I think the surge crystals might have been some source of power. Maybe not. They were getting those crystals from somewhere there, though, and they certainly look a lot like surge crystals. Not like the crystals in the crystal quarry. Although surge crystals are probably made of that stuff. Now, what is the massive heat source that was built it off? Let's figure out if we find it in the game. Let's look everywhere. Desolate Drains. Desolate Drains could have been some sort of heat source. But there's a little problem. Desolate Drains is already under Beacon City. Yeah. It's already directly under Beacon City, so nope. Crystal Quarry? No, not even close. I definitely don't think of it as being a hot area. Lost Scrapyard? Nope. Not that either. Yeah, not the Lost Scrap either. Now we know we can absolutely rule out Icy Hollow. So, let's go to the top of magmatic. Maybe that's it, but I haven't gotten to that area yet. I don't know, I'll check that out when I can. Why don't they show magmatic? Can it sense that I haven't unlocked it in game yet? Nah, that's crazy. And also, I think that would be a crime. Wow. Let's see if I can find stuff for magmatic. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna try that. Unfortunately, I cannot find anything about the magmatic enemies. Yeah. And I'd only find stuff about farming magmatic items, like anyone who's that far in the game actually wants to do that. This video is over until I find something else to do. Knowing playground. That's this. I just had a revelation. Coremelons isn't the only game on my phone. There's so many others, dude.
From what we're discussing today, basically there's been this trend on TikTok that's been on and off over the years, but seems to be at the peak.
Okay, I probably shouldn't play a quiet video in my video. YouTube will detonate me. This might literally murder me. Anyways, new thing I learned. So, if you take zombie blood. Also, hold on, I want to test something out real quick. Okay, it works, but it doesn't do anything. You can suck out zombie blood. And when you've collected enough zombie blood for your personal needs, you can suck someone dry of their own blood. That's about where they pass out. Shit. I didn't mean to do it like that. As I was saying, you can suck someone dry of their own blood. Because they definitely weren't using that, right? And you can pump them full of zombie blood. And then we want them back to life for 2 seconds before collapsing. But they'll also get infected. Anyways, there is a way to deal with infected. And I will show that method right here. Both of them, actually. First off, we have the revolver. Then we have the flamethrower for the hordes that you want to take down quickly. Yeah, hold on, I gotta make him another video.